So, Mathilde, can you list what you've been called too much of for me, please?
So many things. So I've been called too impatient and maybe too passionate, too upfront, but also too nice, and too positive, if that's a thing, too naive. Well, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't change because of it, but I think people call me too naive all the time and too optimistic about people especially, and it doesn't make me change, but it makes me question the way I see people and the way I act with them. And I try not to change, but sometimes it's hard and you think like maybe it's me and maybe I'm really too naive, and that's not good. Maybe it's gendered, but it's more that like the fact of being naive, it may not be gendered, but the fact that they worry for you because you're being naive is gendered. So like I am not like, it's like I cannot afford to be optimistic and naive because it may hurt me somehow, and that's pretty gendered.
Yeah, and how did they think it will hurt you in...
Well, if you go like abroad, you're being naive because you meet people who will obviously take advantage of you. If you're in a relationship, you're being too naive because you're being too nice, and the guy will take advantage of you. And at work, you're being naive because you're expecting the best and like you believe you can go up, but we wouldn't want you to be disappointed, you know. And that's being naive, when a guy would be like, yeah, fight for your rights and fight for your job, and like that's how you're gonna get it.
And we talked a bit about street harassment a second ago, like...
I think they just think that they can do whatever they want, like they want to look at you, why wouldn't they? It's their right. They just don't consider that you have the right not to be considered as meat. And that's the hardest part. And what's hard too is for women to understand that they have to fight for themselves, and like they can fight back, and that's okay if they don't answer to the guy because they're petrified, which I was so many times. And it's okay if they want to fight back, and that it's okay, like it's not, they're not responsible for what's happening. And that's the hardest parts for me. And I think it's like, yeah, I don't know, they're afraid of women who are too independent, and maybe they're afraid sometime we will like take their place. I really don't know what goes through their minds, but yeah, that's an issue.
Think of the things you've listed as too much. How do you think that those things are your power?
Well, I think that being impatient and impulsive make me do stuff I wouldn't do otherwise, and being too nice and optimistic has made me meet so many great people and like travel so much. And I think that helps me see the world on the good side, you know, like I'm pretty happy all the time and I want to do stuff. And yeah, of course sometimes I'm scared, but like being naive allows me to, and like I don't even that's not even really a thing, being naive, so that's it. And being upfront like helps me through that too, because like even though I'm nice, I tell people what I think. So like I'm nice, but just don't go too far, or like I'll just, it's just that all those things make me feel so comfortable with myself because I feel like I'm being true all the time. So I mean, I'm fine. And I really don't care if that's too much for anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really love that I can make friends and talk to people so easily, because I feel like talking about me and my life and like not being scared about this all will make them talk about me to their lives, and that I will get to know them better and better. And I feel that's such a good thing to learn from other people's experiences, and I really love that people feel comfortable about telling me everything, and I really love listening to people, so I love that about myself.
If someone came to you and they were 13 and they've been called too passionate, they've been called all the things that you've been called too much of, what would be your advice to them?
It would be like, don't apologize for who you are, and like maybe take into consideration what people think, but don't make it the only reason you behave the way you behave. Like, if you know why you're being passionate, if you know why you're being impatient, and if you know how and when to stop, and when it's really too much, but too much for you, not for other people, then you're fine. And like, as long as you're not hurting anyone, you can do whatever you want and just enjoy your life, you know. Like, don't it's really hard, especially when you're a teenager, not to think about what people think of you. And I've been there, and I've been like I've been there, and I know that. But I think it's really important to have like grown-ups, maybe my age, which is grown-up for a 13-year-old, telling you to really love yourself no matter what, and like people will just go along with that, just in a quote. Like, they get used to you anyway.
Yeah.
They have to.
If you could change the world tomorrow, what would you change and why?
Whoa. There are so many things to change. Well, I think I'll... that's hard. That's tough. You know, we were talking about raising your children like equally, and I think that's really the reason why men and women are not equal today. It's like because we lack that in education, and like I think I would try to make everybody I will try to I don't know if I could change the world, but I could change the world around me, and I think that's what matters, like piece by piece. And so like I would try to raise my children according to what I value, and like to raise my daughters just like my sons, and I would try to make them aware of all that matters, you know. And like there are so many crazy stuff going on with like political stuff and like the climate, which makes me really scared, because like you see how happy he's here. And it's just like be nice and try. I think like social media are really not good, and that's something we should change, like how we are making ourselves like a show for everybody else to see. And like I would try to make people behave the way they want because they want it, and not because they think people want them to behave that way. And I think if people do that, we'll improve a lot, because like you'll feel way less pressure to compete with anyone else, and competition is not always bringing good. So like I like to share a quote that I like when I was 15, and I like it's in French, but maybe I'll translate later. So like it says, impose ta chance, serre ton bonheur et va vers ton risque. À te regarder, ils s'habitueront. And it means like impose your luck, hug your happiness, and go to your risk. By looking at you, they'll get used to it. And it means like a lot to me, because it's like do whatever you want to do and just go with it, and you don't care about everybody else.
Yeah.
So I love that quote.
That's really, really great.
It's René Char. It's a French writer.
Perfect.